Hi, my name is Attila, and this is Miss N2, and today we are making for you Tom Tom, which is basically pong plantain by another name. So stick around, you'll learn something about cooking with plantain. So this is actually the first time that me and Miss N2 are making Tom Tom together. She usually just makes it and I eat most of it. But this time she's showing me this, which is definitely like a family heirloom meal that we usually have around Christmas time. So Miss N2, tell me about the plantain that you're putting in the pot to boil.
All right. I just want to say that this is food, not only for Christmas time, but this is food that we eat, part of our food. And it comes from things that we plant. You go in the yard, you pick your plantain. You plant your plantain first. And it has to do with our strong food African tradition. Is very similar to the notion of fufu and all those kind of things, where we use the provision, the food that comes from the earth. So before we do anything, we say thanks in the African tradition to the mother of the earth, that we say Maile, we call Maile, from whom all food comes, from whom all fertility comes. She have in her bosom everything necessary for us. She have food, she have fertility, she have ancient wisdom. We walk on her every day. So we thank her for this food that comes from her womb. And we beg pardon for when we pollute her and we are disrespectful. It's a very important part of our tradition to pay respect to the earth. And in part of paying respect to the earth, notice I cut up some flavor pepper and some shadow benny. And you see all the seed on them here? That's the plant back. To put in a little pot, you know, simple things like that. This, I cut up some shadow benny. Look at the root here, could plant back. Shadow benny is great flavoring, but it's also very good medicine. A good piece of this, good for high blood pressure. It's good for cold, this shadow benny. Very important thing. Maile give us everything in the yard that we need for health, for wellness. And, you know,
the blessing of plantain, I think is, you know, God was having a very good day when she created plantain.
You know, because plantain can be used for so many things. We're making Tom Tom today, but of course you have fried plantain. When we're small, we make plantain porridge. Very, very nice plantain porridge. We make plantain fritters with the fried plantain, you know. And so the food is just a wonderful food, and Tom Tom, and you know, and I'm concerned that we are losing.
And that's why we're doing this today, so that you can tell us what kind of plantain to use, right? So what kind of plantain you put in the pot?
All right. You can't get the plantain overripe. If you have a half-ripe one that start to turn, you know, when the skin start to turn a little bit, and it's starting to get ripe, but it's not too ripe. And then you have them in various stages of ripeness, but you have one that's ripe to bring the sweetness. So you don't have any ripe plantain or any green plantain. You have to...
So they have to be full
Yes.
One has to be like just turned.
Yes.
One has to be greenish, and
Yes.
then one has to be ripe, but not to the point of where you want to fry it.
Yes,
right?
right.
So, and that is really to bring out the flavor of the plantain that's not too overly sweet. So so tom tom is really a savory dish with a little slight sweetness. Yeah.
So it's a good meal, and you could have it with anything. I like to have it with callaloo, and with plenty vegetables. You could do a nice pat choy and bodi with tomato and all them things to go aside. There's
Well,
plenty.
not the expensive tomato that they have selling in the market.
No, tomato that you grow in your yard. Tomato that you grow in the yard, it's easy to grow. And you don't have to have no big set of yard to planting. This shadow benny, this flavor pepper and thing could go in a little pot.
I hear somebody tell me the other day that landlords not even allowing people to have potted plants these days. You have people who saying, worse than saying no pets, they saying no pot, no plant, no plants, which is a mad scene. Because, you know, during the Panini, we was talking about, food security and everybody should be planting and all of that. And actually, we have gone right back into this state of, well, if we can't buy it in the market or if we can't buy it in, one of those big groceries, then what do you want, Miss Antu?
I want a fork because I think and a bowl to put this because I think it's starting, some of it ready. I'm minding my business, you know.
All right, so let me do it now. Let me do it.
All right, Sabo, bring a bowl, give me. All
right.
You have to know when the thing ready to come out.
So how do you know when it's ready to come out?
The planting, they start to puff to the end a little bit.
Okay.
You see it start to peep out from the skin.
All right. And if you don't have asbestos fingers, like old people have, where they used to take thing out of heat, you can always use a fork.
Yes, eyes are old people.
And I mean, the other thing that we're doing is we're going to keep all of the skin and leaves and that kind of thing from the cuttings of the vegetables, the seasoning that we're using to give to Miss Antu chickens.
Yes.
Right?
And what the chickens don't want is go back to the mother from which they come.
So
the mother of the earth.
Some compost and something. And of course, you could also use this to boil and make your own vegetable stock. So Miss Antu, where you learn to make tom tom?
From my mother.
And you all used to plant your own plantain?
Yes. And what you don't have in your yard, you get from a neighbor.
Now, you say you wanted plenty garlic, but you didn't give me a specific number of heads of garlic that you wanted.
Well,
so how much is plenty garlic?
I have no recipe in amount. You have to learn to feel and get familiar with the food and get a relationship with the food. It's hard for me to say how much of this, how much of that, how much of the other.
As my grandmother, Ida, used to say, I can't count, but I can hef.
Exactly.
And heffing is part of what we learn in the kitchen. And I mean, if you think about it, people had limited formal education, and so measurements weren't a thing that people used to have. So you learn how to weigh things in your hand so that, when you go in the market, nobody can tell you this is a pound of something. Because you know how to have what a pound of tomatoes is. Nobody can tell you, this is a pound of tomatoes. It's not. You know how to have. somebody has to teach people how to do that.
Because heffing is an important skill, not only for food, but in life, in evaluating people, in making choices, in evaluating. Heffing is an important skill. When you was a young girl, your mother had to teach you how to heff before you pick up some son of a who cut in apple string and bring home for she.
I mean, men need to learn how to have too. To be fair.
To be fair.
If we being fair. I mean, it shouldn't only be the woman's responsibility to learn how to have, right? Silence.
All right, so we have all the nice seasoning here. I love flavor pepper. So once again, easy to plant, easy to grow. We have all of this seasoning thing here now. Now, part of the staple where I come out was a mortar and pestle. I see they have a Grazafin one here. Me, I can't handle this again. So I have my
Listen to, I can help you, you know. That's why I'm here. I'm here as your assistant.
I cooking. I have my pestle here, and I'm going to use my pestle in the water. My pestle could still do good mashing up. It's all right.
Okay, Miss Anson.
All right.
But are we? Okay, so we put a tips of, well, more than a tips. Right, so Miss Antu, when you're ready to mash everything together now, you put, right?
Mash this first. Mash this first.
Okay.
Bamwe.
In order to use a mortar and pestle, you must have something that the old people call pétant, which is core strength.
And balance. Most important. And in life, balance is the most important thing. For me, unless my hand go up in the food, it ain't good. So I have to make contact with. So the hand is the first masher. So it's back in the bowl, and I'm going to knead it now. So you get all the lumps.
So the green plantain is the one that, you know, gives the consistency, gives the right consistency. Because if you have the ripish plantain, then it just turns kind of mushy. But what you want is something that gives it like a little firmness so that it's not too soft. So we got rid of all the little lumps and bumps from the greener plantain.
Yes.
And now we make some balls.
Yeah, it's very, very important to buy the right plantain so that it's not too green so that, you know, it mashes easily. But this is really family food and sharing so that we have people who...
Listen to the cameras here.
Oh gosh. So that people who add, because it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of sharing. And since nowadays most families, everybody just sit down with the thing up in their face, it's very important to revive these rituals around food where families could get together and make this food and feel close to our ancestors, because I feel the energies of my mother, my grandmothers who made this food, you know, up to the 7th generation from the motherland, who made this food and ate this food and shared this food, and this food that nourished us in a time. And, you know, we have to think positive about trying to influence through mechanisms like these, or education system, or parents, to find back the value of cooking your own food, of respecting our traditions that kept us alive and safe during the most terrible Holocaust in the history of humanity. Our food kept us alive, our food nourished us. For the meat mouth, you could beat up some minced meat, some minced pork, some minced chicken, cook it up nice and season it. Or you could make the boils like this and have the meat one side. But as I say, I like it with callaloo and a nice vegetable dish, bodi, pak choy. We give thanks again to the Mother of the Earth. We give thanks to the ancestors for their knowledge. We give thanks even for the gift of technology that we must learn to use to tell our own stories. We must not let it absorb us and tell other people's stories all the time. We have been part of the discovery and the invention of this technology. Let us use it to tell our stories. There are so many different simple ways we could use it to tell our stories, but we have to have the level of consciousness and the desire to decolonize our palate using every tool in the armory of resistance, because the perpetuation of our food is an act of cultural resistance. And I regard myself very much as a warrior in that fight.
Food as revolution. That's food what we're talking about. And plantain will be leading the force.
You all know this one? I want BG plantain to fill up the pot. I want BG plantain, especially when hot. Oh Lord, I'm suffering. I want to get BG plantain. BG being in Guyana.
British Guyana.
Those days was British Guyana.
Right. Who sang that?
I can't remember now. Only check it out and find it. That's what only does. BG plantain.
So when's the last time you did this?
I don't remember us ever making Tom Tom together.
Really?
Yeah, no. This is the first. This is the first time we're making Tom Tom together.
I just make and she does eat.
Yeah, that's usually the order of things. I mean, you know, like we usually make pastels together, bread, akara, bake, those kinds of things. But Tom Tom is a special magic, and I'm really glad that we get to share this with this audience today. I really love, and Tom Tom is like one of my favorite ways to eat plantain. I love plantain in any way, form, or fashion.
You take a small one.
Yes, that's a look. That's a look. Yeah, it just tastes like
food of our fathers.
Yeah,
and our mothers.
Mind if I take two, right? This really delicious. And because it's the half, right? And not fully, right? It's then just sweet.
Yeah.
But this is the idea.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
And how you pong it in mortar and pestle. Mm-hmm. It kind of gives a kind of fluffy
Yes.
kind of texture.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Just now, let me just do a little quality control there.
Please,
Let me just,
please. Yes. Yes.
yes.
This is we food that we children know nothing about. And that is what has helped me.
And I see what you're saying with callaloo. Oh my God.
It would be perfect.
Yeah.
So there you have it, Tom Tom, also known up the islands as mofongo, also known as pong plantain, nutritious, traditional food. Something that you can enjoy making with the entire family. So go and get a greenish plantain, a full plantain, and a slightly ripe plantain. That's all you need, and bring everything together into this wonderful dish. And thank you, Ms. Entu, for sharing this secret recipe with me. And the next time we make it, I will come and make. I wouldn't just come and eat, right? I will come and help you pong the plantain this time. I wouldn't just come and eat it. All right? I promise.
Yeah, it's on camera, so.
The old people say, what I'm eating and passing.
Thanks, Ms. Entu.